Okay friends, welcome to part 4 of our chapter 3 presentation on telecommunications and networking. In this last part we will talk about network protocols. So what is a network protocol? A network protocol is an agreed upon set of rules or conventions governing communication among elements of a network. Now, a network can be comprised of different devices that were produced, designed, and manufactured by different manufacturers, but all of those devices need to be able to talk to each other over the network. So how do you ensure that different devices can talk to each other? Well, by making sure that those devices adhere to a particular communication protocol. Now, a lot of the networking or telecommunications protocols, they are based on the so-called Open Systems Interconnection or Osi Reference Model. Now, this is like a skeleton for standards, and this skeleton was developed by the so-called International Organization for Standardization, or ISO. So this framework is like a conceptual framework that allows to understand how communication networks takes place. So, using common, just practical language, it means that the International Organization for Standardization said if you want to develop a particular communication protocol, then make sure you address each of those layers: the physical layer, data layer, networking layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, and application layer. So all of those layers, they're used to describe how a particular message will be transmitted from one node of the network to another. Now, the most predominant or the most dominant, the most widely used type of networking protocols is the so-called Transmission Control Protocol, Internet Protocol, TCP/IP protocol. This protocol was created to link different types of networks, for example, satellite and ground packet networks, together into one single network of networks. So from that definition, you understand that TCP/IP protocol is the protocol used by the Internet to link different networks together. So that's why it became the de facto standard protocol for networking, because Internet, as we know it now, is relying on the TCP/IP protocol. Now, this protocol has two parts. The so-called TCP part, it's responsible for the reliable and ordered transmission of messages. And then you have IP or Internet Protocol part, the part of standard of protocols, the part of protocol standard that is responsible for routing individual packets based on their individual addresses or IP address. In other words, how to route, how to address those messages so that each message reaches the intended destination. Now, the TCP/IP protocol roughly corresponds to network and transport layers of the OSI model. Now, just a few concluding remarks. As you know, networking and telecommunications have become very important for businesses to function. So nowadays, there's simply no escape from being a part of the network, regardless of which business you're in. You can have like a small store, selling used furniture, but it's still expected that you're part of the Internet, because it's expected that you have some kind of web page or Facebook page to represent your business, on the Internet. The Internet itself, it has a profound social and economic impact across the globe. Especially this impact is visible for the so-called developing countries. In many ways, Internet, is viewed as a positive force for those developing countries, because it's viewed as a great equalizer and democratizer, I guess. Because with the help of Internet, countries that have been isolated, before, largely due to lack of, infrastructure and economic resources, now those countries, they can compete in one global, market space. If you think about it nowadays, for a lot of types of businesses, let's say simple consulting business or some kind of freelance programming business, it doesn't matter where you are. I mean, as long as you have, more or less reliable Internet connection, you can be anywhere. You can be in Thailand, lying under a palm tree, drinking coconut juice and, enjoying the views of the beach. Or you can be in the United States, somewhere in New York City, but you can still participate from those different locations in some types of, knowledge-intensive or information-intensive businesses. So it gives like an equal chance, equal access to everybody. So here we're also talking about educational opportunities. As Mr. Wickham, one of the creators of RStudio software, said, in one of his presentations, he said, nowadays, if you want to learn something, you need to have two things. First of all, you need to have motivation to learn something. And number two, what do you think that would be? Number two, you need to have access to Google, because everything can be found through Google, right? Anything that you want to learn. So that's the positive impact on countries. It has this kind of equalizing, social and economic impact. But of course, there is a downside, at least as as perceived by some of the people in those developing countries. They're saying that also internet, in addition to being used as a tool for giving everybody an equal chance, it is also used as a destabilization tool. Now, if you remember some of the Arab Spring events that happened a few years ago, the local authorities in Egypt and other Arab countries, they were blaming the internet and social media for distributing what they were saying, dangerous messages to the public about authorities, about the government, something that led to public unrest and unfortunately human casualties. And because of that, you had some incidents, for example, in Egypt, where those internet cables were cut by some, I guess, terrorist groups, or I don't know how to call them. Maybe it's not the right term. Maybe activist groups. Basically, they were saying that internet is, killing our countries and society by, spreading those messages that lead to public unrest. So that, but those are kind of rumors. It wasn't officially reported why those groups actually cut internet cables going to the Middle East. But nevertheless, that did happen. They got on a boat and they cut one of those fiber optics cables being laid on the bottom of the sea. I think it's Mediterranean Sea. So so that's what happened. So they believe that there's a negative side to the internet as well. And of course, we also have those issues. Internet was created to be an open network where everybody can join, but this openness has certain disadvantages. Unfortunately, internet is used by some bad guys for transmitting illegal content. Something related to pornography, something related to violence. Coordinating all those activities related to terrorism and violence. Also, internet is used for selling illegal software, all kinds of bad purposes. So definitely, even if we kind of stay away from the political domain, there's definitely a negative side to the internet where it seems to be kind of contradicting to laws and values of a lot of countries and people. But again, like it or not, it doesn't matter what you think about the internet. It is there, and you cannot avoid it. You just need to find a way to adapt your business and your lifestyle to the new era of the internet. So we started with this idea that internet changes everything, and we'd like to conclude this presentation with this idea as well. Like it or not, but internet has changed a lot, and you cannot do anything about those changes. The only thing you can do is to understand and adapt. So that concludes part 4 of our video presentation. Thank you for listening.